So, last week, I make a whole video praising Ubisoft and XDefiant for finally making a quality competitor to Call of Duty and how it could affect the franchise. But this week, we're going to be talking about Ubisoft again in a little bit of a different light. With that being said, welcome to Game Report. Today, we're going to be talking about Ubisoft closing down inactive accounts and what that could potentially mean for your games. On July 19th, a user that goes by AntiDRM tweeted the following: Ubisoft closes your account if you haven't logged in for some time. You will lose all of your purchased games forever. They also attached what appears to be an email from Ubisoft which says the following: We have temporarily suspended your inactive Ubisoft account and will be closing it permanently in 30 days in accordance with our terms of use. Now, many people, including myself, thought that this was a trick or a joke, or maybe even some sort of bait by a scammer trying to get this user's attention. However, just about 24 hours later, Ubisoft support responded with the following: Hey there, we just wanted to chime in that you can avoid the account closure by logging into your account within 30 days and selecting the cancel account closure link contained in the email. We certainly do not want you to lose access to your game or account, so if you have any difficulties logging in, please create a support case with us. And it's easy to say that the internet was completely shocked with this response. Many people, including Grums, who used to work at Blizzard, responded saying that this is wrong. People paid for those games, and they need to reverse this. Charlie Ghost Motley responded tagging CMA and the FTC, saying this is what they should actually be concerned about in relation to their trial against Microsoft and Activision Blizzard during their acquisition. King George jokingly said that this is an average day as a Ubisoft customer, which a few years ago probably would have been true. Now, let's circle back to the original email where it states that this is an action in accordance with their terms of service. So, what does that terms of use actually state? Well, if you go to section 8, which specifically talks about account termination, you can find in section 2, upon notification where your account has been inactive for 6 months, Ubisoft reserves the right to suspend or close all of your accounts. And many users are confused as to why Ubisoft would make such a term and potentially steal hundreds or even thousands of dollars from individual players. Well, it turns out this actually has to do with something completely outside of Ubisoft. In 2021, the General Data Protection Regulation Act in Europe made its updates, which better outlined user data and how it can be protected. Many companies had to alter how they were storing data in accordance to this to make sure they fit regulations in those countries. And that is exactly why Ubisoft felt that this is a necessary term to have in their terms of use. However, it may not be the best one. Now, this term actually falls under what is considered a user lifecycle. And unfortunately, we don't know exactly how Ubisoft has formed their user lifecycle, but fortunately, GetAround.tech has provided a great example of what a company's user lifecycle can look like. Firstly, there are 4 statuses in a lifecycle: a active, non-active, archived, and deleted status. Obviously, the active status would be when a user is actively participating in whatever the service may be. For Ubisoft, this would be playing a Ubisoft title. An inactive status is when they are no longer actively participating in playing a Ubisoft game or whatever it may be for a duration of about 3 years. During this time, there will be multiple opportunities for the company to inform the user of any changes or any risk that they might have while being still deemed inactive. The next status is archived, which is about 3.5 years into an active state. When the status is archived, the account is temporarily unusable. This would also mean that from any other user's perspective, personal data from this user, including profiles, cannot be seen. The archive status is also when a notice will be sent to the user informing them that their account has been archived and is set to delete in a certain period of time, just like the email sent to anti-DRM. It is common for there to be multiple emails within that time frame, informing them and encouraging them to potentially reactivate their account to prevent the deletion. If the account does not return to its active state, it will be permanently deleted from the database. That way, no information is stored by a company which the user may not realize the information is being stored by. Now again, we do not know how closely this matches Ubisoft's lifecycle, but it is a great example of what a lifecycle could look like from any online business. By now, you must be wondering, why is Ubisoft the only one that seems to be doing it this way? Well, technically they're not. But there are some other examples of how businesses have adapted to the GDPR regulations. Most notably, Valve, who is the creator of Steam. They confirmed that they do not deactivate accounts due to inactivity. They also included that they do not include inactive accounts in their statistics, reports, or data collections. Microsoft had to change Minecraft realms to delete any realm and provided information after 18 months of the last use of the realm. This is mainly to do with the fact that it is a monthly fee and it is stored in a cloud through Microsoft servers. However, there is one company in particular that has a very similar term of use as Ubisoft, that being Riot Games. Specifically regarding their game Valorant, Riot reserves the right to take measures against an account, including suspension and termination of an account that has not been active for a prolonged period of time. Now, granted, for Valorant specifically, it is a game that is completely free to play, that anyone can play at any time without having to spend any money. However, there are a very large amount of people who will play Valorant and will purchase in-game items and cosmetics that will be linked to only that account. So, when does Ubisoft decide to close an account? They stated that their implementation of the account deletion process was in direct compliance with the requirements of the GDPR, and the policies are aligned with legal requirements and are the standard of the industry. Their goal is to protect their players against fraud. With that being said, Ubisoft claims to take this process very seriously and assures that it is not done willy-nilly and has 4 criteria that are considered before initiation. Firstly, the gaming activity of the account since its creation. This is to check how often the gamer is playing the games or at least online in a service like Steam or Uplay. The ownership of PC games since the creation of the account. Accounts tied to purchased games are not eligible for deletion. From my understanding, this is stating any account that used Steam or another third party to purchase a Ubisoft title is not capable of having their account deleted. The duration of inactivity of the account, meaning the last login to our ecosystem, including from Ubisoft games on Steam and other platforms. This one is very self-explanatory and has actually been reflected in the terms of use. However, they specify they have never deleted an account that has been inactive for less than 4 years. And lastly, the existence of an active subscription to Ubisoft Plus related to the account. Also known as, you're still paying Ubisoft but you're not playing the games and they don't want to remind you to cancel your subscription. Also part of the procedure, before an account is deleted, the player will receive 3 emails over a 30-day period informing them of their account status and encouraging them to restore the account before the deletion. Now, I'm not a shill for Ubisoft. However, I felt it was worth sharing my research with you to at least justify some of their reasoning for the email, though it still negatively affects gamers and should be looked into more. What do you think? Are you still willing to buy a Ubisoft game? Let me know in the comments below. And be sure to like and subscribe to Game Report to stay up to date on all gaming news.